was a very close match, and one of the kids won, obviously. And the stands, the two families, or the supporters or whatever, they started like yelling at each other, and then they started fighting. There's a full-on brawl with at least like 15 or 20 people like punching each other.
Welcome to Jiu Jitsu Ponderings with Lauren and
David. It's me.
Let's get started. David, what is one tournament that you want to do this year that you are excited about? Or several tournaments, because I know you can't help yourself.
I'm going to answer this with if we can do it, I'd like to do it. Europeans is this weekend, probably like happening tomorrow or whatever. I think Europeans maybe
started today.
Yeah, or started today. It would be nice to do that sometime. So maybe next year we can do like Europeans or something like that. I think doing Masters European, Masters Europe or whatever you want to call it in Spain. It's in Barcelona, Spain at the end of April. That'd be pretty sick because Spain looks awesome. Portugal also looks cool. Maybe not as much in January. Pretty sure Spain in late April will be pretty sick. So that Nogi Brasileiros would be cool. It's the only Nogi major that I haven't won. I also just haven't competed in it, but I haven't done it. So that'd be cool to like at least have a chance to do all of the four majors.
I feel like we haven't. I think we've let that one go for this year in particular. I think on the docket, the most exciting. Oh my God!
Someone's let go of it.
Okay, well that's because I was going to say that I think the most exciting ones that we potentially could do, like you said, we just started researching Master Europeans.
If anyone is in Spain, Barcelona specifically, but also anywhere that's a short flight that wants to have us one or both of us as a seminar, that might sway our decision.
That was our decision?
If we're going to be brought in for a seminar,
that
would certainly help.
Yeah, I mean, that would help. Yes, totally. Yes, sure. I think for us, it's mostly a time kind of thing.
No, it's mostly a money kind of thing.
Oh, okay. All right.
Right now,
whatever
for me,
you say. Yeah, for you. So
I have more I have way more flexibility than you do.
Yes. That's very true. I mean, with the child as well.
Yes.
Yeah, there you don't have as much flexibility.
We can move things around.
Anyway, so besides that, I think the idea of doing a trip to Japan would be really cool, and that would be to compete in the Asian Open. But we'll see. Either of those would be pretty awesome. If we somehow got it together to do Master Europeans, that would be sick. I've been to Barcelona once before.
Barcelona?
Yeah.
Is that with a TH?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
A TH stop sound?
Yep.
Exactly. If not Japan in the summer for the Asian Open, maybe we could do Master Asia in Japan in the November time or whatever. That might be fun too.
Time. That could be really cool. Yeah,
we were
totally.
Like sort of floating that idea this year.
Yeah. I'd be open to that.
I think that'd be pretty sweet. I mean, like we'll do like the regular ones, but this is like different.
Of course, I'm excited to do Master Worlds again. I took third this year, and who knows what can happen. I gotta get my redemption arc.
Yeah,
you gotta get your redemption.
I don't care about Master World. I mean, I care about it, but like I want my redemption arc at Nogi Worlds. I'm tired of not placing 2 years in a row after I won absolutes 2 years ago.
That is wild.
And so I'm a little bit, little chip on my shoulder. It's not the end of the world because like you can only control so much, but it'd be nice to make a concerted training camp and give myself a better opportunity to succeed there, especially because that will be my last year at Master 2. I might stay Master 2. I might go up to Master 3, but I'll be able to go to Master 3 once 2027 starts.
Yep. Nice.
Cool.
All right.
What sports or sport would you have liked to do as a child growing up or do more of?
I think the answer that I direct most people to is gymnastics, but I also did some amount of gymnastics for at least a year, maybe a couple of years. And I definitely wish that I feel like now the kid has done some parkour. I think something like that probably would have been better because you're essentially still learning the fundamentals of gymnastics. You know, you're learning how to do like front flips and back flips and understanding where your body is without having the strictness of gymnastics and the kind of like leotard performative aspect of it. So I think that something like that where
Plus you get to yell parkour.
yeah, exactly. I mean, huge benefit. So, but I think that sticking with gymnastics for a longer period of time to get just that body awareness in space. What's one that you would have liked to have done or spent more time with? I just wish I had moved off of soccer like way earlier because I think I did it, but I didn't really care that much after not that long. It was like fun enough,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean the silly answer is I wish I would have gotten into jiu-jitsu, not as a kid. I mean, because like it just wasn't a thing as a kid or whatever. But I think, I didn't start jiu-jitsu until I was 27.
Yeah.
It would have been nicer to like be involved a little bit earlier. But as a kid growing up, I don't know. I think like wrestling was pretty sweet. It was pretty good for me. Maybe it wasn't a thing, but maybe doing rugby, I think that would have been kind of cool. I don't think I would have wanted to play football. Like there's a pretty clear reason why I didn't. Although like I like football, I think it's cool.
I would have if there had been jiu-jitsu like it is now, I think it would have been there's the chance that it would have been really good for me as a kid, and there's the chance that it could have been somewhat deleterious.
It would have been horrible for me.
Yeah.
Guaranteed bad for me.
Yeah. I feel like I would have sustained a lot of injuries. I would have started weight cutting way too early. But that's what it's like, hey, do you have the right coach who is putting you on a good path or not?
Yeah, that's true. Like if you have a really good coach that will help you navigate that. Like I cut weight a lot in wrestling. So like whatever.
In high school.
Yeah. I mean, let's see. My biggest weight cut was in one day, 12 pounds, day of like competition. And within a week, I went from 169 pounds and competed at 145.
Yeah, that's gnarly.
Like 5 or 6 days. And that's like competing in between. So I competed at 152 3 days later. So I cut like down 17 pounds to get there. And then like, you're recovering back. And I thought that I was going to be competing at 152 again. But they're like, hey, you're at 145. You got to make the weight tomorrow.
That's crazy.
And so that was at nationals. So that was pretty sweet. So I've cut a lot of weight before.
Yeah.
It's not fun. But I think, if I were able to have someone that can really mentor and guide me, because I wouldn't have tapped for like any reason. I don't think so. Because I was very like, there was a term that I really like, I not identified with, but I really like glommed onto of like being dead game. And it's now this is, I don't condone this in any way, shape, or form, but this is just like a mentality that I had is in pit fighting with like dogs. If there's like this one dog that like is like clearly like on death's door, but it's like still trying to crawl and battle, like just has that fight in them no matter what, even though they're like they're defeated. Like they'll stop it and like pull them up and like breed that one because like that one just has like
it's got the dog,
it's got the dog in them. And again, I don't condone any of that like world, but more the essence of like no matter what, I'm gonna keep fighting. And like I often would have like this really strong ethos of I don't care if I'm up by 10 or down by 10. I don't care how much time is left. I'm bringing the heat. Nonstop. Full blast. I'm trying to like not like injure someone, but I'm trying to like put the pain down, and I'm going to try to break someone no matter when, where I'm behind, up, down, whatever. Didn't matter. And so I feel like if that was like if jujitsu were like submissions and stuff like that were introduced a little too early, I might be more injury riddled.
I think the good news is for, the kids, we tell them like the ref is going to stop the match, like the ref is
the young kids. Yes.
The young kids. Yeah, exactly. I don't know what they do for like high school age.
I don't know either. That's
interesting. Yeah. We'll have to ask some friends of ours.
Yep.
Cool.
If it was available, I'd like to have tried out rugby. I think it'd be really fun.
Yeah, you did say. Yeah.
Okay. I think
I tried rugby in college.
I think I could be good at it.
I think that there was appeal. I went to school in the East Coast and it was so cold.
Oh no.
Oh my God, it was horrible. Yeah, it was that part was rough, and I have I think I do a little bit better with individual sports, individual, but you're on a team.
I've had that be pretty strong for a long period of time. I did play hockey in college and after.
Yep.
That's fun though. That, like there's like, for any of you hockey players, like the hockey locker room is unlike anything else in this world. Yeah. It's just so much fun. So many shenanigans, and like it's just a different space. And hockey itself is a fun game, but the hockey locker room is just cool. It's just like broing out and whatever. So
nice. All right, David, how is training going?
I was sick for several days, so I didn't get to train that much, but I trained the last 2 days in a row. It's pretty clear that my conditioning is a little sus from that, and just like kind of kicking the last bit of it. And then, over vacation, that kind of stuff, haven't like really been able to ramp up and get like a good base. But training itself is good. Like I feel pretty solid. My game is still all there, and I'm exploring, doing some stuff. I'm trying some flying barada platas and stuff. I had a pretty sweet counter to a berimbolo from Strand.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Tell me about your counter to a berimbolo from Strand.
I couldn't help that. I couldn't tell you how I did it.
Well, you don't have to tell me how. I don't know.
So he started to berimbolo. He's gotten really good at his back takes.
Interesting.
And I like pulled in his arm in between and like trapped his arm in there, and so it like prevented him from being able to turn the corner.
Huh.
And then
like were you in like kind of standard like seated berimbolo sort of situation?
Yeah.
You pulled his hand that would normally like wrap up your
I
hip?
was like seated up, and then like I dropped and pulled and like kind of locked it in. Yeah. And then he's like kind of like stuck from being able to go around the corner. That was pretty sick.
Nice.
But I think like it's not really a story. I've been able to hit a couple of the barada platas, which has never been like even on my radar at all ever. I'm seeing it, and it's
that's cool.
Bringing me satisfaction. Yes. I'm not really getting it from a lot of the I
have no surprise at all that you're like, yeah, I'm hitting barada platas from any position besides the ones that he showed, basically.
Hey, he showed side control. I hit it from side control.
Okay, fair enough.
I hit a barada plata from top half guard, which was sick.
And just in case anyone missed the last episode, for context, we went to Jiao Miao's seminar, and the focus was pretty much mainly barada platas and entries there too.
Yeah, so I'm.
Yeah, now you're barada plata master.
No, monkey see, monkey do.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice. I got really close to doing one where I not only entered the barada plata, but then they countered by pressuring into me, and I pendulum them over and tried to get it so that you sit the person back up where they're kind of crunched and they can no longer pressure into you. I was like, that close.
Aww.
The only other story that I have from training was that yesterday someone tried to Kimura me as I was passing, and I was stepping around to armbar them, and it was Nogi, and as I stepped around, I stepped kind of funny, and my foot slid out from me, and it kind of tweaked the right where your big toe meets your foot, that joint. Is that the turf toe kind of joint? Or yeah, turf toe kind of joint. So and so I felt it right then a little bit, but I was able to do another round, which was a fun round. But then that night I was like, "Ow, my toe hurts. This sucks." And between that and then today, I think it's just sleep debt. I was just really tired. Like I needed to take a nap before lunch, and I just kind of generally felt pretty exhausted. And I had already the day before upped my caffeine with some yerba madre or yerba mate. Now I guess I'll call it
No,
yerba
it's
madre.
yerba mate is a brand,
Yeah,
but it's yerba mate
okay.
tea.
So I'd already done my 3 p.m. yerba mate to make it through teaching the kids class. And I felt like, I think today, given how tired I am, given that I have the stupid turf toe now, I should probably just chill. And I think I'm standing by that. I was ready to compete on Saturday, and then we realized, the kids got a flag football game. So guess I'm not doing that one. And luckily there's no one in my division. So I was going to drop down. No, I'm not. And so I think giving myself,
which is good because that person took the refund, by the way.
well, like if I had dropped down, then they wouldn't have given her the refund.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's right. And I would have been bummed.
Yeah, probably.
Right.
Maybe their kid had a flag football game too, or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. They're like, I asked for a refund. They're like, no.
Yeah. Yep. So I've been like, hey, you don't have a competition. There's no pressure. Take today off. I'll get to train, maybe tomorrow. I'll definitely get to train on Saturday now that I'm not competing. And so I think it's nice to, I'm telling myself it's good to listen to that signal, and just try to give my body some rest. So yeah, those are my stories. And I am hitting the brawler plot, but I'm hitting it primarily from bottom. I still haven't, I should review the side control one with you, because I'm having a little trouble setting it up.
I'm not an expert at it.
Yeah.
I just kind of make it happen.
Yep. Nice.
But it is, it's nice, honestly, because like when people turn into you, like I'll often like kind of suck it up and like shoot darts.
Yeah.
And like when they like either know about it or they're not committing that much to it.
Yep.
It's nice to be able to have something also to do.
Yes.
And so now I'm getting people, I'm sure I'm going to start getting people to turn more or not turn as much. I've been doing a lot of Fat Man game to like just maintaining side control a lot and like passing and then like just kind of smushing people. Nice. And so it's kind of fun to tie in a little bit of a flashy in there.
Yeah. People are always like, they're kind of surprised. They're like, what is happening? Because it is a weird attack. So that's cool. Brada Plata land. Here we come. All right.
Brada Plata, baby.
Brada Plata baby?
Yeah.
Like Hasta La Vista baby, or is it a baby of Brada Platas?
The first one.
The first one?
Yeah, like let's go party, baby.
Oh,
like,
okay. Just want to make sure, maybe it was a little bit. Because I said it was like, man, don't worry about it. Anyway.
All right, topics.
What are some activities that you feel are complementary to jiu-jitsu, and how do you feel about people doing them? I remember there was this meme that was like, for my grips, I go rock climbing. For mobility, I do yoga. And for, balance and something, I go surfing. And then it's like, but I still suck at jiu-jitsu or whatever. And it was, I think, I don't remember it exactly. It was more a comment on like, you'd probably get better at jiu-jitsu if you just did jiu-jitsu, But yes. I think there's some truth to like, there's the people they make a grip on you and you're like, oh my God, like it's just this iron grip because they rock climb or whatever. So,
and some of that, yes, totally. And some of that is like, oh, I'm specifically training my grip strength through doing jiu-jitsu. I think one, like people could do a lot of things. I think at a base minimum, things that are complementary to jiu-jitsu from a like longevity and injury prevention perspective is like some level of strength and conditioning or yoga Pilates that is doing the opposite of what you're often doing. So especially if you're a guard player, but even just in general, like you're more hunched over, you're more like pulling and like, you know, or like framing away statically and stuff. And so things are opening up your body and stuff. So even if you're just doing some lifting or some Pilates that is like really just opening up your chest and like doing the opposite of what you're commonly doing is just really good for you. It's very complementary for many different ways. But if you're like, hey, I want other hobbies or fun things to do, I think one base level of good for basically everyone is going on walks. It's nice. We have dogs. I take the dogs on a walk very frequently. And so even just getting the blood flowing and especially if you can be in nature too, is just beautiful. And it's very easy and it's free and everything else like that. There is something to be said for surfing because you're like often arching and row, like, you know, rowing with your hands or paddling, that's the right word. And you're in nature, it's often cold, especially around here. And so you're getting some benefits from that. I think that, I mean, strength and conditioning is a good thing, but if you're like looking for hobbies, I think going on hikes and looking for creepy crawlies like salamanders and snakes and frogs and stuff like that is just good for the soul. It's good cross training.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, there's a million things you could do. You know, yoga and Pilates are great. Anything that like isn't going to be beating up your body too much. I mean, even like running is still good. You know, if you have a like trail running in particular because it's
that's
it's
outside.
nice.
It's not
yeah.
like on the concrete or
Yeah, you don't want to
whatever.
take too much. Yeah, especially if like running on concrete, it's like on your knees, taking extra damage on something that you're already going to probably take some damage on is not necessarily great. But I think the things that I like to do outside of jiu-jitsu are like going on walks, occasionally trail running. Not that I like to do it, but I do it sometimes. And hikes are great, and doing some strength and conditioning here and there. And then I would like to do a little bit more like skiing, which is not complimentary at all. Probably one of the worst things you could do for jiu-jitsu, honestly.
I don't know. I mean, you know, I think it depends on how you ski. And like, I haven't really had any knee injuries, and I've been skiing for a long time, but I don't push it super hard either.
I told my PT that I went skiing, she's like, that's one of the worst things you could do. For specifically, like, because I had like a knee thing going on or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. What about you? What do you think? Or complimentary? You could do a lot of things.
Yeah, I think that the main thing is sometimes it's nice to feel like a beginner again, or it's just nice to have some balance from if you're training a lot of jiu-jitsu. You know, it's good to just, I think it's the one thing, on one hand, it's very advantageous that the jiu-jitsu gym, generally speaking, can be open in whatever kind of weather. So for places where it's like, hey, it is just too cold to really be outside right now, you can still go and exercise. I think that's where like jiu-jitsu started to really kind of take off in like Alaska, where we got Liz Clay from and a few other people, or places in like Utah or Chicago or whatever. And even Austin to agree, like, oh, it's super hot, but I can go into like an air-conditioned gym if they air condition. I don't know. So I think that's advantageous. But I think on the flip side, if you are doing a lot of jiu-jitsu, you're stuck inside this building all day. And, you know, there is a lot of research that's coming out that like simply being in nature, especially like taking a chance, like letting your eye look around and see nature, or like the smells and the chemicals that trees and plants are emitting, is good for you. And so getting some of that into your life is definitely, I think, helpful for, you know, things that we don't like necessarily entirely medically understand yet. And it should just like help your mood, you know, help you have perspective on things. So I think that, you know, like you said, like walking or hiking or, you know, trail running or whatever, things that put you in nature are really good.
I wish I mountain biked more than zero.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah, we have to get the toe hitch. That's the one thing that's kind of unfortunate with mountain biking is like you need a lot of gear. Like you need the bike itself, which is thousands of dollars. You need something on your car to be able to bring said bike places. And like I like that generally speaking, if you're not going ham, like surfing and skiing or snowboarding, if you're not landing on stuff that necessarily is going to like destroy
Talk
you.
about something that takes a lot of equipment.
Yeah, skiing too. Skiing's got the equipment issues. Surfing not quite as much.
And the outrageous cost for ski
Yeah,
lifts, and
totally,
then you gotta,
totally.
get to
I'm
the
just saying mountain
mountains.
biking, I feel like there's a lot more people where it's like they fall off their bike and they like shatter their clavicle or they like separate their shoulder or whatever. You know, like that. It
You
seems
can
like
do
the
that in
falls can.
skiing too.
You can't, you know.
You also get concussions.
Well, you should be wearing a helmet, you know. Yeah,
Well,
it
if
can
you can't
happen.
afford a helmet.
You can afford a helmet. Like they can.
I didn't.
I know, but that's also like back in the day. You know, if you're a kid, like find a way to get a helmet.
You also tear your knee. I did that too.
Did that too? Yeah, my dad tore his knee skiing.
Yeah.
I know someone who, my godmother, someone ran into her when she was skiing, and she had a horrible knee injury. So yeah, and that's part of the, you know, this like cost benefit analysis is, you know, what are the potential injuries of doing this other hobby?
Mhm.
You know, is it gonna take you away from jiu-jitsu? Because you know that's like the most important thing, obviously, if you're listening to this. Yeah, and so I think
nothing else matters.
You know, it's nice to have other things happening and other sports, like I said, that like get you outside, that get you, like you were saying, opening up your chest and your back and your arms and moving in kind of a different way, to help sort of undo some of the hunched T-Rex arms of jiu-jitsu. But yeah.
Those little small trampolines in the classes that have like,
yeah, where you're just jumping on the trampoline.
and they're like,
that looks hella fun.
Intense music and people all doing it together and stuff.
Any of the silly, I'm going to do anything but lift weights classes, I'm kind of down for. I mean, I've never been in one, but like,
some
of
them look pretty sick. There's like high energy, high intensity, and there's usually someone that's like the ultimate like energizer cheerleader person and like whatever. It's like, it's cool.
I am glad that Pilates has taken off enough that you see a lot more dudes doing it, because it is very beneficial and it's often very hard. That is one thing where I'm always looking for like a restorative yoga class. It's not too slow. You're not holding position for like 10 minutes because that's agony. But it's not we're doing push-ups and whatever. So I think that's probably, if I could choose one thing and have it happen like 1 to 2 times a week, besides weightlifting and, you know, like actual strength and conditioning, I think like a restorative yoga class is pretty sick.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. So one item that's top of mind for us is that the spawn, the child, is going to be doing her first jiu-jitsu tournament pretty soon, which is very exciting. And I thought that I actually was asking someone else for thoughts on like questions for this podcast, and they suggested that we talk a little bit about suggestions for parents, maybe coaches, but I think mostly people with kids or thinking of having kids. You know, how can they approach wanting their kids to train, and what kind of suggestions, you know, can we give given our past experiences, and maybe what are some questions that we are wrestling with around being, you know, parent and step parent with a child training. Yeah.
I mean, every kid's going to be different. Like that's a big thing. And being attuned to what your kid wants and needs and that kind of stuff influences, doesn't dictate, but influences the way you approach things. I think, so starting that off, I think also their age matters a ton, you know, like little Sally and Timmy are not going to be professional athletes at 8, you know? And often there's more and more stuff out there that like the younger the kids are specializing, the less likely they're actually going to be able to do that sport, because the every sport has its trade-offs as far as repetitive based injuries. And it is often really good advice is keeping your kid active, keeping your kid doing various things that will help build a base to then differentiate or isolate what they want to be doing, even in college or in high school and stuff. And so I think that like one, like don't push your kid and over index and think that they're going to, one, it's very unlikely that you're going to be a professional in any sport. You know, it's like, it's exceedingly rare. And two, it's like, you don't want them to feel overly pressured, especially if there's tying with performance and that kind of stuff. You know, so one thing I and you do as well, and I think a lot of people nowadays are talking about effort-based praise and not outcome-based praise. So, you know, let's get that out of the way. Like that's just very clear. You want to, you know, praise the things that you want to see and not and that you want to see effort. You want to see them going on their own journey and stuff like that. And that's also a good reminder as an adult, you want to encourage yourself. It's really, really hard, but encourage yourself. It's like, it's journey before destination, you know? The journey is the part of the effort, the showing up, the consistent improvement. It's not the, I got gold medal at that one particular tournament, or I beat that one particular person in a super fight or whatever. So getting to like tactical advice, I think that, you know, the more that you can introduce in a positive environment, keep it fun, keep it enjoyable. You know, if they're kind of resistant, the best way, honestly, is to get them to be friends with people that already train.
Oh yeah.
It's the hack to get someone to do kids to do anything. It's like, if their friends are doing it, or you get them to become friends with people that are doing it, the chances are so much higher. Or like your kids doing it, like do whatever you can to get their friends to also do it. And like, man, it's so much easier that way. So I think introducing and allowing your kid to test out multiple different things, interests, sports related, but also others. And then like maybe just keep introducing jujitsu and like, but not too much pressure, and like make it be fun, and don't like put too much overbearing on it. Is good. I think that if they're resistant, but you feel very, very strongly that they should have some jujitsu, maybe like a year or two, especially if you have some level of like, hey, as a female, you want to have a little bit of comfortability in like a bad situation. Like, yes, maybe you're not going to have like full on self-defense, but at least be able to stay calm in really bad situations. I think it can be okay to have the thoughts of, hey, you got to do 2 years when you're like 14 to 16. Something like that. But outside of that, if you want to garner them and you want them to build a passion and love for the sport, it's about encouragement and making it accessible without being oppressive with it.
I think that's the main thing that I see, you know, parents pushing their kid into it too much is, you know, it's coming from often, you know, at least hopefully a place of love where they really want their kid to be confident and they want their kid to be capable if something bad happened. And I think one of the challenges that I see is that, kind of like you just said, the reality of how much training you need to be competent in, you know, one of, like you're saying, hey, you are not necessarily a super martial artist or a self-defense expert, but you have enough skills to stay calm, even in a bad scenario, and to potentially take action, which is a whole lot more than anyone who doesn't train probably has. You don't need that much jujitsu. You probably need a couple days a week for like a year to really, to be like, oh, someone's mounted on top of me. I've been here before. I'm going to be okay. And I'm going to try to escape, and I'm going to stay calm as best I can, you know? And and so what I'll see sometimes is a parent wants that, but they're making their kid train like 4 or 5 days a week. And you're like, this is so excessive for what you're desiring, you know? And then I think you'll see at a range of schools, sometimes you'll see, well, that's the parent is really wanting competition success for their kid, and that's why they're having them train that much. And I think, one of the biggest things that kind of woke me up was hearing Jocko Williams talk about his path with his 2 kids.
Jocko
Willink, thank you. I'm really bad with names. It's bad.
Jocko feel
Yeah.
free to sponsor us.
And hearing him say that he regretted pushing his kids so hard in jiu-jitsu. And that's a perfect example of he wanted the self-defense. He didn't really care about, competitions. Hey, if they wanted to, he probably would have been like, cool, whatever. But he wanted them to be very capable. And now they both hate the sport and they will never train. Maybe they will one day when they're fully grown adults and everything. But he wishes that he hadn't pushed them so hard. It was very helpful for me to hear as a parent, because I think one of the pressures is you maybe have these wishes for yourself as a kid where, oh, I wish someone had pushed me a little more. Like I said with gymnastics earlier, oh, I did it for a little bit, but I wish I'd kind of stuck in it for longer to get more out of it. And you maybe have those feelings, and you often set up ideas in your mind of what it's going to be like if and when you have a kid. And sometimes you meet that reality and you're like, that is not really what is happening here. And hopefully it gives you always
when you meet that reality.
Otherwise, every single parent who did jiu-jitsu and is a jiu-jitsu black belt would have a world champion, and that's why it's like, why don't you see more Sarah Galvaos and Mika Galvaos? It's because the alignment of what the kid wants to do and what the parent wants them to do is not necessarily going to be there. They're either not going to have the motivation, or it's like they have to get to decide who they're going to be within the confines of scaffolding them.
Yeah, some kids really want to do what daddy or mommy does.
Yes, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But most don't.
Yeah. Yep.
Most
and that differentiation is good.
Differentiation is a biological drive for a significant portion of people. Mm-hmm. It's you want differentiation. Mm-hmm. You want there to be that separation of entities. Mm-hmm. And that can they're the way that I think about it is you do want to push them sometimes. Mm-hmm. Now, it doesn't need to be in jiu-jitsu. It could be in other things, because I think it is important to have grit trained with your kids.
100%.
It's something that I think is undertrained in our county by miles. It's like, oh, we have a lot of lawn mower parents where it's like, I don't want my kid to struggle through anything.
Yeah.
And that is not going to serve your kid at all. Mm-hmm. And so I think there is some validity at the right age and the right time and the right doses to force the kid. It's like, it's like, hey, you gotta do 3 months of it or whatever. It's like, we're signing you up for 3 months. You got to finish it out. Yep. Unless there's something that really means I can't or whatever. Yeah. But,
that was one strategy that we employed once the kid was old enough. She would say, oh, I really want to do this thing, and we're like, okay, we're going to sign up. We're going to commit to it. And hey, if you don't like it after that, you never have to do it again, and that gives room, I think, for trying something out. And then ultimately, if it doesn't work out, you're going to teach them pushing through and falling through. And maybe in the course of that time, they develop more expertise, and that skill means that they like it more. Or if they're like, dude, I hate this, then you don't have to play basketball, or you don't have to play soccer or whatever,
I think a common thing, this is a really good point. I think a common thing for, people that we might know, but a lot of people, is that you have this romantic idea of what this sport is because maybe you've played it with the parent or with a friend at recess or whatever, and you do it, and maybe it's fun because it's novelty, at the first practice or two. Mm-hmm. And then you're like, oh, I'm not immediately really, really good at this. Mm-hmm. I don't like it or whatever. It's harder than I thought, or it's not what I thought it was going to be. Mm-hmm. And the very easy thing is I don't like it. I don't want to do it. Yeah. Kids, adults, I am like that too. In some ways, it's like, but sometimes on the other side of difficulty is passion.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, oh, then you start to see progress. Especially when you're young, you often see progress very quickly.
Yep.
And you start to see progress, and then you're like, oh, this actually is kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
And in an ideal world, it's very difficult with, not with some kids, but with a lot of kids, an ideal world is you build a love of the struggle and seeing the progress.
Yeah.
And if that can happen, then like the whole world's unlocked, in a lot of ways.
I think too, and I think that idea, at least in our anecdotal experience, I don't think that happened until pretty recently, where, in the last maybe year or so at age 9 or 10, have we seen our kid start to really enjoy focusing on something and improving and getting better at it. And so it's also to your point of, all kids are very different. Some kids, they might find that with a sport or an instrument or whatever at an earlier age. Some it might be later. And so I think that's just part of the challenge of parenting or coaching, is that you don't really know when that's going to happen. And you have to just evaluate as you go, okay, is this when they need the push? Or is this when I need to say, hey, I want my kid to be able to form independent thoughts, and I probably want them to be able to make decisions for themselves once they're an adult. And so when actually this leads me to a good story. I remember a long time ago, I was working as a program director at a jiu-jitsu gym, and this mom came in and she really wanted her son to build confidence and to, think for himself and really grow his personality, because he was very quiet. He was like almost overly agreeable. And she came off as a very strong personality. So I was like, oh, this is really interesting. And so that's why she wanted him to train jiu-jitsu. And so he comes in and, he is a quiet, like very sweet kid. And what was funny to me was, it's like, you want your kid to be independent and to speak up for themselves, but you are dictating so strongly what course they take and what activities they do and this and that. You're not giving them the opportunity to say no, And so I think that's, again, this is like a really hard, like, each kid's different and they're going to have different relationships with different parents or whatever. But like, I think there is value in respecting your kids' no sometimes, not to where you're permissive with everything or whatever, but you're also saying, wow, this isn't speaking to you, what is? Like, what can, and that way they will learn who they are and what they like and how to keep that going as an adult. Because I know for myself, I think I was starting to emerge before I was doing jiu-jitsu as like, I feel like I don't really know who I am or what I like, and how do I find that? And you're just kind of like striving, like, okay, is it going to be kiteboarding? Is it going to be like weightlifting? Is it going to be this other thing? And, I think in finding jiu-jitsu, it was one of the first times where I was like, oh, I really like this. And this is really me. And I can really, take this really far. And so I think a lot of people, like, they want their kid to find that ideally as early as possible where they can really take it far. And that's,
And I think, so two thoughts
for cutting my rambling.
So two thoughts there is, one thing I think that you do really well is like you got to make a plan before the after school stuff or the summer camps drop, because those things get snapped up right away. And so what you do is you assess like what some of the kids like interests are, whatever, and you look and you scout like what is going to be available, and you give her a choice between 2 or 3 options. Like you have to do one.
Yep.
Which one would you want to do? If that one's not available, what's your backup?
Yep.
And that way, like, she has some agency, but she's still doing something. And I think that that's healthy and that's good. And so that's one like very tactical example of something that you can do to start giving, like, trickling them a little bit of independency, but not letting them run rampant. And because of course they're gonna.
You're not saying, oh, you want to stay at home all day, watch YouTube, like, cool,
you're still giving them stuff. And I think it's and allowing it to be done. So if they're like, hey, I'm expressing interest in jiu-jitsu, okay, like, what can I do to make that happen, and plan that all that stuff out. And I think that that's an area where you can make easy like votes in giving them independence and progressing. And then it's like you can start sourcing more from them. Hey, what would be things that you're interested in doing? And, you know, if money is able and they have the things or whatever, you can start doing those down the line and stuff. I do think that, like, also, you know, back to kind of one of the things that you were mentioning, I forgot my other point, but back to one of the things you were mentioning of being overbearing, it is in my opinion, is an epidemic in our society. Our society of always more, and better, and perform and you know, dance for me, monkey,
kids.
overscheduling kids.
And the pressure is real, where you're like, man, I want them to have an instrument, I want them to have a sport, and maybe they need tutoring, and like, you know, and maybe,
how are you going to get into Ivy League if you don't have the laundry list of all these things?
And we feel this. I think that's a little bit the culture of the county that we happen to live in as well.
It's really pervasive all throughout the country. Less so in certain areas and that kind of stuff. But like, I've seen it firsthand. You know, I wrestled and then I refed also. And, you know, we had a couple kids that were in our high school that wrestled all the way up through junior high and then hated the sport. Yeah. They were very successful and never did it ever again. And I've seen plenty of people that like had a very volatile relationship with wrestling. Like as a ref, you would see dads, moms too, you know, parents and stuff like that getting livid, you know, at their kids, at refs and whatnot. And one story that like really just is burned into my memory for all time is I was at Reno World Championships. Like it was this big like massive tournament, bigger than Master Worlds. And they had all these age groups, and I was reffing the 4 to 5 year olds or 5 to 6 year olds.
Oh my God.
And then like also the 7 and 8 year olds. These kids might have been in the 7 and 8 year old class category. The 4 and 5 year olds, this is a little tangent. The 4 and 5 year olds, it's so funny. Like 95% of them, it's like they're gonna cry. 100% of the time.
I used to always, before I had a kid, I was like, oh yeah, my kid's gonna be like competing at like 4 or 5, And after I had a kid, and I experienced what a 4-year-old actually is as a parent and what a 5-year-old actually is. I was like, a lot of these kids, I think the vast majority, in my opinion, do not want to wrestle or try to break each other's arms or choke each other. And that, like, now I'm like, that's a pretty gnarly thing to put a very young child through, you know? And so like, it's very interesting, that perspective shift. But anyway, go on.
Yeah, it's like every match, or almost every match, there'd be at least one, but mostly both of the kids crying at the end of it. And you're just like,
what?
I'm just like, oh my God. Anyway, so this match in this, I think it was 7, 8 year olds. From the beginning, like I could just feel like this tension, like it was palpable right away. And I later learned that these kids were kind of like rivals. They like competed against each other a lot and that kind of stuff. They're from different states.
Eventually, once you're up that high, there's only, especially at that age, I bet there's only
this
couple.
Is the world championships or whatever. Like this is the thing, you know, there's like national championships and there's these big events and stuff like that. But this was, I mean, we had 40, 50 mats, something like that.
Wow.
And all age groups all the way up through like college or at least high school, and like it's all over the place. Anyway, they're wrestling, they're going at it, whatever, and it's not even that chippy, but you know, it's like a physical battle or whatever. And something, I don't even remember why it started, but the coaches were kind of jawing at each other, not at me. Like I wasn't getting any flack because like in that match, I don't recall again like what set it off, but it was something about the demeanor, and the match had ended. It was a very close match, and one of the kids won, obviously. And the the stands, the two families or the supporters or whatever, they started like yelling at each other, and then they started fighting. There's a full-on brawl with at least like 15 or 20 people like punching each other. Yeah. Like guys and girls just going at each other. And then I had like made sure that the kids didn't get off. I had like sat them down. Yeah. And like kept them in the middle of the mat. And like while like I'm like calling for security and that kind of stuff. And like there are people streaming down to join in and stuff. And I'm just sitting there and the two kids are just like putting their head in their hand, just like, what the hell? Yeah, you know, just like mortified. And they're just like kind of looking at each other like they're like a heated rivalry, but also like not that much. Yeah. You know, like
there's nothing positive to be gained from like that.
Yeah, and they're just like they had to have security, pull them apart, and that kind of stuff. It was so wild, and I'm just like, what the hell is going on? It's like this is. You
said they're like 7 to 8.
They're they're 7 or 8.
So wild.
Like they're the 7, 8 category. I'm like they're young children. This is not.
They're humans that don't even come up to your shoulders. You know, like
this is not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like one kid was eye poking or punching or and it was a physical but totally normal match that just one, you know, it was probably like one talked shit that they beat blah blah blah, you know, whatever. And it was like, man, that I can't imagine what it's like for those kids back at, you know, home dealing with that kind of stuff, you know?
And that kind of pressure.
That kind of pressure is just, you know, the chances that those kids wrestled in high school and college are so exceedingly low, even though like those kids' technique were better than a lot of the kids in my high school. You know, like they're skilled, they're doing, you know, fairly advanced stuff and executing it really well. And they're not harnessing a love and appreciation of the journey of wrestling or jiu-jitsu. They're like forcing it now because they can have that. They don't have agency as a young child. You can force that, you know, and that's an unfortunate aside. And that was a very good, easy way to burn someone out of never doing that sport ever again. And it's a shame.
So you burn them out on doing the sport. Maybe they would have continued to do it if it hadn't been pushed on them so much. Probably not, though. And so you also denied them an opportunity to do something else that they maybe would have enjoyed more, or just had free time. You know,
and almost for sure, your relationship with that kid is bad.
I think to that point, if you've ever heard of the 5 love languages, actually, this is from Gottman. That's who it is. Gottman's got a famous psych books on marriage and relationships, like the foremost marriage expert or something in the nation. And one of the things is that you need to have at least 5 positive interactions with someone to every 1 negative interaction. And that makes a lot of sense in terms of, you know, being a couple or in a relationship with another adult. But a lot of people are like, that is true for your child too, you know? And so I think it's good to take a measure of like, hey, I need to push this person. I need to teach them grit and following through on commitments and things like that. And if all I'm doing is fighting with them all the time, what kind of relationship are we going to have in however many years, you know? And so I think even if like on that note of like, hey, you're pushing them so hard, they're doing all the wrestling, they're doing school, you know, like when are they having free time for themselves? And when are they having free time to just like hang out and joke with you and like, you know, like and just be a kid and like
be explore. A kid with other kids, you know.
And the good news too is like if you're like, oh, I want to make sure that I'm being a good parent and that I'm helping their development, there's a lot of data that especially through all of their elementary school age, they need free play, you know, and that is what will support them as an adult later in life. And so if you're like, man, I want to really, you know, push them and make sure they, go far and that they can take care of themselves and blah, blah, blah. Like, let them have free time where they're not in front of a screen and they're bored and they're figuring things out, and then let them be the leader in that too, and like engage in them in their free time. And that's nice where it's like, hey, it doesn't have to be super complicated, and it doesn't have to like cost you a lot of money,
Yep. Because supporting those hobbies is
Mm-hmm.
sometimes very cost prohibitive.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So like very tactical advice that I would say is introduce your kids to jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Try to think about what would make it the most fun
Mm-hmm.
and to keep them doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not about pushing hard, and it's just about keeping them training.
Yeah.
And if you can bring their friends involved or have friends that train, and that might mean bringing them to a different gym than like you train at.
Yeah.
But that might be the thing that unlocks it for them. And keep checking in not only with them, but also with yourself in, does this still feel good?
Yep.
That, whatever that compilation is, whether it's jujitsu or other things in their lives, and what am I actually trying to accomplish by scheduling all these things into their lives, and not just like checking off a box that you think is what they need, but trying to like really assess what is it that they need, what is it that they want, and what is it that you want as a parent, and like what you feel is important to them, and try to make that as many overlaps as possible. And it's going to change.
Yeah. Yep.
For almost every kid.
Yep.
Not every kid, because sometimes they're like, I want jiu-jitsu and that's all I want in life, or I want the clarinet or whatever. And like, they're very intrinsically motivated. They're internally motivated to do the thing. And then it's just like, get out of the way and like help harness that, and sprinkle in other things that help balance
make sure that they have value outside of who they are in jiu-jitsu for the long run.
But I think it's, making sure that you are making it as enjoyable as that is reasonable, pushing through the tough times, and knowing when it's no longer serves them for now. Because just because you back off, just like many adults, like, you back off from doing jiu-jitsu, 2 years later, hey, things are a little bit different in life. I got rid of that stupid partner that doesn't like me training jiu-jitsu. Now I'm back in, I'm having love in life and everything else like that. And just keep checking in. I think that that's a smart thing to do in parenting in general, but I think specifically on this topic.
Yeah, I think that is a great place to kind of like wrap things up, is that at least for us anecdotally, the kid went from training when she was like 4 and 5, a little less when she was like 6. And then at around 6 or 7, zero training, did not want to train at all, was very adamant about it. And it was hard to allow that to happen, but it became pretty evident. It was like, man, she doesn't want to do it right now. There's lots of other sports to try and other activities to do. And now
did you sprinkle it in here and there?
And
I think
the sprinkling was that we would make it a game, like when we were at home. Like, we wouldn't really be doing jiu-jitsu, but we would be like doing like foot tickle battles, and like
teaching her ankle locks.
Yeah, basically teaching her ankle locks and leg control. And then we would be doing like wrestling, like on the bed or whatever. And it's like you're saying, like just making it fun. And and she, of course, like, she's going to have times where she's just like at the gym, and then occasionally doing that little push of like, like, let's just try this again. Maybe they're a little resistant, but like, hey, let's just check it out again. And having the friend go definitely helped. And then the fire started to catch, and then they had more friends who were training that they were excited to see. And then they were saying, oh, I want to do a competition. And you're like, what? Like, whoa, okay, let's go, And so, I think there's definitely, even if the breaks are probably good, and it'll give them the opportunity to come back at a different age when they maybe have a different perspective on it. And so, I know we're really excited that the Spawn is jumping into her first one, her first competition. It'll definitely be, like, really exciting, definitely an adventure. And I think the main thing is just the excitement. I think with her personality, it's really been like, man, I really think you would really like this. I think it'd be a really good place to like get your rage out and to be in your body and to get to be aggressive in a place where it's okay. I know for me, that was a part that always like spoke to me is these are the rules around, you know, wrestling with people. And this is where it's a good thing to do, you know?
Yep.
And so I think seeing those personality matchups for your kid can be really helpful in seeing like, hey, does this speak to them or not, you know? But yeah. Yeah, hope that is helpful for you in encouraging the next little tadpoles to keep wrestling.
Yeah. I think it's good for parents, but even just people that don't have kids yet or don't ever want kids or if their kids are grown up, it's like it's good perspective to keep thinking about. And maybe it's like those conversations, maybe you're not like telling people how to, but you can ask questions around like, oh, like why do you put like what are you trying to accomplish, blah blah blah. And I think it's just good to you know just be mindful about those things and not just, oh, I like jujitsu, so they must like or I think they should have self-defense, so they're gonna do it. You know, it's
you might get lucky and roll the dice and the kid likes it.
Totally.
But like also like, you know, there's gonna be
I think
probably a broad swath of experience.
Yeah, and I think that like having kids is a good way to make things less clear cut. You know, it's like I'm gonna do this as a parent. I'm gonna do that. They're gonna do this, and then you're like, well, maybe not. And it's good to be able to change your mind and update things. But it's good to reflect on like, well, why do I actually want my kid to do this or that or whatever right now? And that might change over time, and it might resonate with them, it might not. And like it's a ever changing puzzle. It's like a jigsaw puzzle you're probably trying to put together, and then like your cat just knocks it off the table, and you're like, okay, and you start putting it back together again, and you do your best, and sometimes you get lucky and you have something that you can share with them, and sometimes they want to do something else, and that's also a beautiful thing because you can learn about something else.
Yep.
All right.
Definitely. We learned a lot about Goat Simulator.
Yes.
Yeah, we know all kinds of things about goats.
And warrior cats.
And warrior cats, yeah, lots of warrior cats.
Which is pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
All right. Well, with that, make your kid do jujitsu.
Yep.
That is it for today. Have a wonderful training and go do yoga in the park, or oh no, better yet, dog yoga, puppy yoga.
Oh, I thought you were going to try to combine them. I thought you were going to be like
goats
yoga on a surfboard while you're going down.
Have you ever done yoga on a paddleboard?
No.
I have.
Not. Yeah.
Sweet.
Sounds kind of cool. Yeah.
It's pretty lit.
Yeah. Nice. So you can combine. Yeah. Outside, very water and balancing, and then turn it into a race or something. So you can also like trail run.
A water like obstacle course.
I mean, that sounds fun.
Like
we should go to one of those.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah.
We absolutely should.
Yeah, I can't believe
Where's one of those what was that one TV show?
Most Extreme Elimination Challenge. So good. So good.
You got to put a clip of that in here.
Yeah, I don't. We'll see. We'll see what we can do. Yeah,
that show is.
If you haven't seen it, it was on Spike TV way back in like the 90s and 2000s and stuff.
It was like a legitimate Japanese.
Yeah, I mean, you know, as legitimate as like ridiculous Japanese game shows are.
Because they make
it was definitely supposed to.
But they would
ridiculous.
dub it over with like
So
Americans
good.
like talking and like clearly not what they're saying and just making it so even more ridiculous.
Yeah. We should show the kid that show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh my.
All right, we'll let you go.
All right.
Thanks for joining us. Signing off.
Like and subscribe. If you need jujitsu gear, Knox.com, Mitchell20. Get 20%
like and
off.
subscribe.
Like and subscribe.